I thought being a good dad was enough until my daughter confessed she hid her graduation on purpose. Hi, I'm Daniel, 44, and I used to think being a good father would be enough. Turns out love doesn't always come with a return policy. It started with a text from Maya's mom. Just a heads up, graduation's next Friday. No details, no time, no location, just that. Thrown over the fence like she could say she told me without actually telling me anything I could use. I assumed it was a passive dig, her way of pretending she was keeping me in the loop while making sure I wouldn't actually show up. But I didn't think Maya would go along with it. That same night, I called my daughter, my voice caught in my throat before I even got the words out. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm so excited for your graduation. I can't wait to have my proud father moment with you." She laughed. It wasn't mean, but it was offhand, like someone brushing lint off their sweater. "Oh," she said, "that was 2 weeks ago." I stood there in my kitchen holding a dinner plate like it was going to crack in half if I moved. "What?" I asked. Just that one word. That's all I could manage. "Yeah," she said, "it already happened." Then just like that, she added, "I didn't want you there. I asked him to come instead." If she had screamed it might have hurt less. Instead, she said it the way you might tell someone they missed the bus. I didn't yell. I didn't say a word. I ended the call. My body moved through the motions, turning off the stove, closing the fridge, but my mind was somewhere else. Somewhere stuck between second-grade math homework and dance recitals, and nights sitting in a car outside her mom's house, waiting for Maya to decide if she wanted to come over. There was a cake on the counter. Congratulations in silver and blue frosting. No one was going to eat it. I didn't touch the chicken I'd cooked, didn't touch the wine, didn't even turn the lights on when it got dark. Just sat there at the table, repeating one line in my head like a prayer twisted backwards. "Don't cry. She doesn't deserve your tears." But I wasn't crying for the day I missed. I was mourning the man I thought I was in her life. And the worst part? The more I replayed her voice, the more I realized that text from her mom, next Friday, wasn't a mistake, it was cover. Enough to claim I was told, wrong enough to guarantee I'd still be absent. The next morning, I didn't wake up, I just opened my eyes and kept lying there, like my body didn't quite believe the night had really happened. The silence in the house felt different, heavier, not peaceful like I used to crave, just cold. I walked into the kitchen and saw the cake still sitting there, the blue and silver letters mocking me with every glance. I opened the fridge, shoved it in, and shut the door too hard. I didn't go to work, didn't shower, just sat in my living room turning over every memory like I was looking for a receipt to prove I'd done it right, that I had been enough. And I hated how quickly my mind started bargaining, how fast it went from hurt to inventory, as if love was a spreadsheet I could balance if I found the correct line item. There was this one time when Maya was 10. Her mom forgot it was pickup day after a school play. Maya stood outside in the rain until I showed up, late because I'd gotten off work late and fought through the traffic like a maniac. She ran to the car, soaked through, and sobbed in the front seat. I took her for pancakes. She fell asleep on the ride home, and I remember thinking, this is the moment she'll remember. This is the kind of love that sticks. Guess I was wrong. By afternoon, I had worked myself into a strange, quiet clarity. I didn't text her, didn't call. I just started packing a small box of her things. Nothing dramatic, just the basics, her charger, some clothes, a book she left on the coffee table. And then I sat at the bottom of the stairs and waited. She came in that evening, earbuds in, humming, phone in hand like she lived in a commercial for apathy. Didn't even notice me until she looked up. "I need you to go stay with the man you let take my place," I said. She froze, the kind of freeze where time bends around a person. "What?" "You heard me. Go stay with him, the one you invited to your graduation, the one you chose to have in the audience instead of me." Her expression shifted, defiant first, then confused, then smug. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said, standing. "I'm being replaced." And I finally noticed. She scoffed. "I'm not leaving." I didn't yell, didn't threaten. I just made a call.
not because I needed muscle, but because I didn't trust myself to keep my voice steady if she pushed hard enough, and I refused to let it turn into something uglier. 2 guys I knew through a security company I'd worked with came by within the hour, off the clock, not in uniform. I told them calmly, no hands on her, no drama, just stand here while she grabs what she needs and keep it calm.
My name, written in her handwriting, slanted, quick, familiar. I stared at it for a long time. Inside, a birthday card. Blank. No message, no signature, not even a "Love, Maya." Just silence in printed cardstock form. And it hit me. She had thought about writing, had started, maybe even sat down to say something real, but in the end, said nothing. I held that card like it was radioactive. I didn't cry, didn't yell, just sat there with it resting in my lap, thinking about all the words we never said to each other, the years we both stood on opposite sides of the same room, waiting for the other to speak first. That night, I called Marcus, told him everything, the card, the voicemail, the way silence had become the language between us. He listened. He always does. Then he said something I'll never forget. You know, man, sometimes the other side of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And that hit deeper than anything Maya ever said. Because at least hate burns. Indifference, that's just cold. The fallout didn't explode. It crept. First came the text from her mother. I hope you're proud of yourself. No context, no curiosity, just judgment wrapped in punctuation. Then another. Maya's devastated. She says you scared her. Scared her. I read that word 3 times, like maybe it would change meaning if I stared long enough. I had never raised my hand to my daughter, never screamed in her face. I built my entire parenting style around not becoming the man my own father was. And now I was being painted as a threat. A few days later, Marcus sent me a screenshot, Maya's social media, a photo of her in a cap and gown, community college, the kind of graduation that isn't flashy but is still yours, smiling, wide, standing next to him, her mother's boyfriend, arm around her shoulders like he'd earned it. The caption read, "Grateful for the father figure who always showed up." Always. I felt something in my chest finally crack, not break, just split clean open. Because in that moment, I understood something important. She wasn't just choosing him. She was rewriting me out of the story entirely. The comments poured in. He stepped up when others didn't. Blood doesn't make a parent. She deserves better. I didn't respond. Not online, not privately. There was no point. People don't want the truth when the lie makes them feel more comfortable. That weekend, I went to a family barbecue. Big mistake. Conversations stalled when I walked up. A few people smiled too hard. My Aunt Denise gave me that look, the one that says she's already made up her mind. My cousin Tasha finally said it out loud. "Did you really kick her out?" "Yes. She's only 19. And she's old enough to decide who her father is," I said calmly. She decided. I just respected it. That shut the conversation down. Later that night, I sat on my porch alone, staring at the streetlights. For the first time, I stopped asking myself, what did I do wrong? And started asking something else. Why was I the only one expected to bleed to keep the peace? I had spent years being quiet, reliable, solid. And somehow that made me forgettable, like the foundation of a house, necessary, taken for granted, and only noticed when it cracks. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. The shift wasn't loud. It was subtle, like your favorite song playing 2 rooms away. You know it's there, but you stop waiting for it to move you. That week, I started reclaiming my house, not as a statement, not out of spite, but because I couldn't keep living in a museum of someone who had already left me behind. I started with the hallway, the one she used to scribble on with dry erase markers when she was little. Hearts, stars, once a note that said, "Dad is cool." I painted over it, every inch, 2 coats, not to erase her, but to remind myself that I still lived here. Then her room. I boxed up the posters, the books, the old perfume bottles collecting dust. I didn't throw anything away, just stored it in the attic like you do with winter coats in spring. Out of sight, out of ache. I wasn't grieving a daughter anymore. I was grieving a version of myself that kept hoping she'd turn around. Marcus noticed the change when he stopped by. "It's different in here," he said, stepping into the kitchen. "Yeah," I said, "cleaner." He smirked. "You look lighter." "I feel lighter." We sat in the backyard, beer in hand, listening to the buzz of cicadas and the occasional bark from the neighbor's dog. "You think she'll come back?" he asked. I took a long sip before answering. "Maybe, but she won't find the same man. Because that version of me, the one who waited, who swallowed disrespect like communion, who stayed soft hoping it would be enough, that man was gone. Not bitter, just done auditioning." A few days later, a text came through. "Maya, can I come get some more stuff?" No hi, no how are you, just logistics.
That's when the screaming started. "You're evil," she shouted. "You're disgusting. You'll regret this." But I didn't flinch, because for the first time in years, I wasn't trying to keep the peace. I was finally keeping myself. She left with one bag in a storm behind her. The house didn't feel peaceful. It felt post-apocalyptic. You know those scenes in movies where the camera pans across an abandoned city, still and silent, everything too still? That was my living room. I didn't eat that night, didn't turn on the TV, just sat there on the edge of the couch, staring at the space where she used to throw her backpack, where she used to plop down and rant about teachers or friends or her mother. That girl was gone. I didn't even know who replaced her. 2 days passed like fog. I went to work, nodded through meetings, answered emails, came home, stared at the stairs, waited for, I don't know, something. A knock, a message, an apology, anything. But nothing came. Until Sunday. Late afternoon, I was in the kitchen, scrubbing out a coffee mug like it had insulted me. The front door opened. She still had a key. I hadn't changed the locks. Not because I expected her back, but because I wasn't ready to believe this was real. She walked in like she lived there, headphones in, no eye contact. She went straight to the fridge. "You don't live here anymore," I said without turning around. The fridge door slammed. "Are you serious right now?" "I'm not gonna say it again." She leaned against the counter like she was settling in for a petty argument. "You're overreacting. It's not like I killed someone." "No, you just erased someone." That stopped her. For a second, her face softened, like she might hear me, like some piece of that little girl still existed in there. But it vanished just as quickly. "I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you." "Same thing," I snapped. "You didn't forget. You chose not to tell me. You chose him. You made that decision." She crossed her arms, eyes flaring. "He's there for me. He shows up. He takes me places. He listens. You work all the time. You barely talk. You act like being in the house is the same as being a parent." I stared at her, and I hated how part of me immediately wanted to defend myself in bullet points. Hours worked, bills paid, rides given, as if that could compete with the simple dopamine of someone who shows up with a smile and a camera. "You mean the man who showed up halfway through your life and bought your affection with vacation photos and expensive gifts? You think fatherhood is about flowers and plane tickets? What about every time I sat in traffic just to make it to your parent-teacher night? What about the winter you were sick and I missed my own mother's funeral to stay with you in the hospital? What about that?" Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I didn't ask you to do any of that." That hit harder than anything else. Not the graduation, not the replacement. That. She might as well have said, "None of it counted." I laughed bitterly. "No, you didn't. That's what love is, Maya. You don't have to ask." I walked over to the front door, opened it, and looked back at her. "Your things are packed. You can go now."
She stared at me like I had just torn a page out of her story she didn't want to lose. "Are you really doing this?" I nodded. "Already did." She walked out, didn't slam the door, didn't look back. And just like that, my daughter became a stranger who used to live here. The next morning I woke up before my alarm. No reason, just couldn't sleep. The house was too quiet in that wrong kind of way, like someone had muted a life that used to be full of sound. I walked past her room. It still smelled faintly like her, vanilla lotion and the last perfume I bought her for Christmas. I didn't go in. Couldn't. Instead, I grabbed a trash bag and started cleaning the kitchen. Not angrily, just methodically, like I needed to scrub her absence into something useful. That's when my phone buzzed. One new voicemail. Unknown number. I hit play. Her voice, soft, like it was trying to be casual and cracking at the edges. "Hey, I got all my stuff. Thanks for not throwing it out. I guess I just wanted to say, I hope you're okay." That was it. No apology, not even a question, not even a bye. I didn't call back. Not because I didn't want to, but because I finally realized she wasn't trying to fix anything, just to keep a line open in case she ever needed it again. Later that day, I opened her bedroom door, slowly, like I was walking into a memory. Everything was exactly where she'd left it. Posters on the walls, makeup scattered on the vanity, a hoodie half folded on her bed. It looked like she'd just stepped out for school and would be back for dinner. I sat on her bed. The mattress barely creaked under my weight. My hand brushed the edge of her nightstand, and something slid forward. An envelope.
I stared at it for a while. Then I wrote back. "It's in the garage. I won't be home. The door's unlocked." I left the house that afternoon, took a long drive out past the city limits, windows down, music low, let the air hit my face like truth. When I got back, the boxes were gone. But on the hall table, there was something she left behind. A photo. Of us. Me with her on my shoulders, age 8 maybe. I was laughing and she was holding an ice cream cone, her face beaming like I was her whole universe. I stood there holding it like it was glass. She didn't leave a note. Just that. Not a map back, but proof that once we were real. I kept the photo, framed it actually, put it on my nightstand like a quiet monument to who we used to be. Not out of nostalgia, out of proof. Proof that I didn't imagine it all, that once upon a time I mattered to her in a way that couldn't be faked, that somewhere, buried under the noise of influence and resentment, there had been real love. I didn't hear from her for a while after that. Weeks stretched out, slow and strange. I learned to live without the sound of her keys at the door, her music upstairs, her shoes by the back wall. I started cooking smaller meals, doing laundry less often. My world got quieter and simpler, and somewhere inside that silence, I found something that felt dangerously close to peace. People stopped asking eventually. Marcus still checked in. My sister stopped dancing around the topic. Even Maya's mom finally went quiet after I didn't bite back at her third guilt-tripping voicemails. I wasn't playing the game anymore. Then, one Sunday morning, I woke up to another voicemail. I didn't recognize the number, but the voice, I knew it immediately. Maya. This time she sounded tired, hesitant. "Hey, Dad," she said, that word landing softer than I expected. "I don't know if you'll even listen to this or care, but I just wanted to say I saw the photo, the one I left. I didn't plan to. I didn't expect it to matter. I thought you'd throw it out." She paused. I was angry. Still am, honestly. But I'm starting to wonder if maybe you were too. I guess I thought you'd always be there, no matter what I said. You always were. And then you weren't. And I didn't realize how loud that silence would be. Another pause. Anyway, I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to say that.
She hung up. That was it. No apology, no grand confession, no sudden change of heart. But for the first time, it didn't sound like defiance. It sounded like a door cracking open. I didn't call her back, not immediately. I sat with it, let the words hang in my chest for a few days before I did anything. I talked to Marcus, told him what she said. He asked, "So what now?" And for once, I didn't have an answer. I wasn't rushing back into a role I had been dismissed from like an understudy. I wasn't waiting by the phone anymore. But I also wasn't angry. I was cautious. I'd spent so long fighting for a seat at her table that I forgot I had my own damn table to sit at. I didn't need to beg for scraps of love anymore. Still, her voice stayed with me. The way she said "Dad," the hesitation behind it, like she wasn't sure she still had the right. And that's when it hit me. Maybe she was finally starting to understand that what she lost wasn't just a man who paid the bills. She lost the one person who showed up without being asked, the one who didn't need applause or recognition or credit, the one who stayed until staying meant losing himself. And maybe, just maybe, she was starting to feel the cost of that. I didn't reply, but I didn't delete the message either. I listened to it once each day, not out of hope, but out of honesty, because healing doesn't always come with a clean apology or a perfect ending. Sometimes it starts with a voicemail that says just enough. Sometimes it's just two people standing on opposite sides of a broken bridge, both holding bricks, unsure if the other one will build. And for the first time, I wasn't rushing to build it alone. 3 weeks passed. No more messages, no visits, no photos left like breadcrumbs. Just life. Steady, quiet, almost boring. I learned to fill the space she left behind with small rituals, watering the plants, making real breakfasts instead of coffee and a protein bar, playing music in the evenings, letting myself sit in silence without having to brace for the sound of a slamming door. Her voicemail stayed on my phone. I didn't replay it anymore. I didn't need to. I remembered every word, not because it was profound, but because it was the first thing she said that didn't erase me. One Sunday, just after 11 a.m., the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door, and there she was.
No drama, no storm behind her, just Maya. Hair tied up, hoodie a little too big, the way she always wore them when she felt unsure of herself. In her hands, a box. I recognized it immediately. It was the photo box from the living room cabinet, the one I thought she'd never cared about. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside without a word. She walked in slowly, like the floor had changed since she last stepped on it. She sat on the couch, I stayed standing. Not out of pride, just I didn't know where this was going. She opened the box, started pulling out photos, one by one. Us at the zoo, her first bike, a science fair ribbon, her asleep on my chest with a fever, my eyes bloodshot from staying up with her all night. "I forgot about these," she said quietly. I didn't say anything. She kept going. "That trip to D.C., you took a week off work for that. I didn't even realize. I just thought that's what dads did." She looked up at me. "You always showed up. I didn't see it before. Or I did, but I didn't get it. He made things look fun. You made things work. And I didn't know how to appreciate that until it stopped." I swallowed hard. My throat didn't want to cooperate. "You said in that voicemail that you thought I'd always be there." She nodded. "I thought love meant not leaving, but now I get that sometimes it means letting go." She looked smaller now, not weak, just unguarded, like a part of her had finally stopped performing. "I don't expect it to go back to how it was," she said, "but I'd like to start over, not as a kid trying to win something, just as someone who knows they messed up and misses her dad." She pulled out one last thing from the box, the blank birthday card. She handed it to me. "Flip it over," she whispered. I did. In small, careful handwriting, it said,
I didn't know what to write then, but now I do. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. I sat down slowly, not because I had forgiven everything, but because for the first time she had picked up a brick, and I was ready to build. Not the old bridge, that one's gone, but maybe, just maybe, something stronger. Not out of obligation, but out of choice. And this time, it would be both of us laying the foundation. Together.